So with the recent explosion of reboots and revivals, lots of people have been wanting for the beloved Disney series Wizards of Waverly Place to return. The cast and crew members of the show have been throwing around the idea of a continuation for years. However, as of today, there is no word of an actual reboot in the works. But if there were, I and so many other fans of this show wonder what would a Wizards of Waverly Place reboot look like. Well, in my opinion, this reboot should take place 10 years after the events of Alex vs. Alex. That would place us in the year 2023, which gives the showrunners 2 more years to make this reboot happen. Time is ticking, people. Anyways, in this reboot, Justin is still the headmaster of WizTech, so I don't know how much that pays. I'm assuming it's a lot because he's the headmaster, but that could just be a title. There's a chance that Justin is getting paid the same wage as everybody else. There's also a chance that Justin is not getting paid at all, but worry not. Justin is married to Juliet, who is now a private fitness instructor for the rich and famous. Because we already know Juliet was very into like healthy eating and exercise and all that jazz, so I thought this would be a good career path for her. She's also making mad money, and good for her too. More money to spend on food, clothes, and stuff for the kids. That's right, in this reboot, Justin and Juliet have several wizard/vampire children. I just wonder, should all of these kids have some wizard powers and some vampire powers? Or should some of the kids only have wizard powers and the other kids only have vampire powers? You guys can decide that in the comments down below. Now let's move on to Alex Russo. In this reboot, Alex is a world-renowned artist who's earned millions from her paintings. Although her life seems great, Alex never appreciated the fame aspect of her job. She never liked the idea of people always crowding around her and bothering her, so she releases all of her paintings under an anonymous name, Diane Sawyer. Alex also lives in a mansion that's very isolated from the rest of civilization, and if anyone ever stumbles upon it, they'll never see it because it's invisible. People with full wizard powers can do that. They can turn entire buildings invisible, I think. And this does not seem out of character for Alex at all because we already know she loves art and hates socializing with people. Now, Alex still has Mason in her life, tragically. However, the two have an on-again, off-again relationship. At one point they got married, but when we first see them in this reboot, they've just gone through a heated divorce, which is no joke. It's a very serious matter. Now, let's move on to little Maxie. Max Russo and his girlfriend Talia have been together for a long time, but have never been married or engaged. Not because they don't want to, but because they can't afford to. You see, Max and Talia run, or should I say, used to run, the Waverly substation. Unfortunately, the business has been receiving less and less customers each month and eventually had to shut down as a result. I would love to take credit for that idea, but David Henry, who plays Justin Russo on the show, was the one who came up with it while discussing ideas with Selena Gomez for a potential reboot. Now, Max and Talia live with Jerry and Teresa, who are Max's parents. Max and Talia would buy a house of their own, but again, they can't afford to. And they would move in with Talia's snobby parents, but they completely disowned her when she started getting serious with Max. Now that the substation is out of business, Max, Talia, Jerry, and Teresa all work across the street at the Late Night Bite, which if you remember is a sandwich shop that Juliet's parents own. Now, last but not least, let's move on to Harper Finkel. Now, Harper is out here taking the fashion industry by storm. She has all these different clothing lines for people of different shapes and sizes. Everyone loves Harper's clothes, and in this world, if you see someone wearing a Harper Finkel design, then it automatically makes them cool. And unlike Alex, who hides away from fame, Harper embraces it to the point where you can't turn on the TV or pick up a magazine without seeing Harper Finkel and her clothing designs. Now, you may be wondering if Harper is with Zeke in this reboot. The two are very good friends and they're actually business partners, but I'm still very skeptical on whether or not they would actually end up together. Anyways, in the first episode of the reboot, Max, Talia, Jerry, and Teresa get fired from the Late Night Bite due to the restaurant shutting down. All 4 of them are now desperately in need of a job. Now Max, who is now depressed, walks down into the substation which has been abandoned for years. He then walks around and reminisces about all the good times his family had while running this restaurant, and all the times that magic had messed things up. Just then, Talia walks in and sees him upset, so she asks what's wrong. Max explains that although he's grateful for Talia and his parents and a roof over his head, he can't help but think of himself as a failure, especially when compared to how Justin's and Alex's and Harper's lives all turned out. Talia then tells Max that he'll find a way to get back on his feet. Then she convinces Max to reopen the family business, and Jerry and Teresa are also on board. So they all reopen the restaurant and business is booming. The new and improved substation is now the talk of the town, and it's actually getting more customers than the old substation ever did. Unfortunately, all of the success surrounding the substation also gets the attention of some not so nice people, specifically Dominic, who you may remember as the evil WizTech guy from Alex vs. Alex. So apparently he survived his fall off the top of the Leaning Tower of Pisa by using magic to flash up a giant trampoline that saved his life. Now Dominic lives his life in hiding because if the Crystals of Justice ever found out that he was still alive, then they'd send him to prison like they did Alex. However, Dominic has also spent all of these years plotting his revenge on the Russo family. Fortunately, no one can find Alex because she's been off the radar for years. Dominic also realized that it's almost impossible to try to come after Justin because him and Juliet and their kids are like an army. They all know how to fight. So Dominic would be outnumbered if he tried to come after them. That only leaves Max, Jerry, and Teresa. So Dominic captures them, but leaves Talia behind because she still has no idea about wizardry, and Dominic doesn't want to be the one to expose it to her, because he's already in enough trouble with the wizard world as it is. Anyways, Talia panics, then calls Justin because he always knows what to do in the face of danger. Then Justin and Juliet come over with their kids, and they have Talia watch the kids while they go fight Dominic. However, Justin and Juliet tell their kids not to use their powers in front of Talia because it would freak her out. Then Justin and Juliet go to fight Dominic, but they realize they can't do it on their own, so they reach out to Alex. Then she shockingly shows up, and it's a shock because no one has seen or heard from her in years. Then Justin, Juliet, and Alex all defeat Dominic once and for all, and then they save Max, Jerry, and Teresa, and they all have a mini family reunion. Alex then tries to leave almost immediately, but Teresa convinces her and Justin and Juliet and their kids to move in and protect them from all kinds of dangerous people from the wizard world who might be after them. So they all go back to the sub shop and find Talia in distress because she's been watching Justin and Juliet's kids for the past few hours, and they completely did not listen to their parents. They used their magic powers all over the place and jacked up the entire restaurant. So Justin and Juliet ground them, quite literally because they take away their ability to fly for a while, along with all of their other powers. Then Talia walks up to Max and asks what just went on, why were you kidnapped, and why were all these kids flying around and casting spells all over the place. Justin and Alex tell Max that it's time, so Max finally reveals the wizard secret to Talia. He explains that he lost out on the wizard competition and has felt like a failure ever since, but Talia reassures him that he's not a complete failure and that she still loves him. Teresa then says, "Mija, can you fix up this place?" So Alex waves her wand and everything is good as new. Just then, Harper and Zeke walk in with an idea to merge their fashion empire with the substation business since they're both very popular. Everyone then agrees, Zeke does some weird dance, then it's a happy ending. So yeah, that's how I think a Wizards of Waverly Place reboot / revival / continuation / whatever should go like. I want to know if there's anything I said that you guys agreed with or disagreed with. Also, what would you guys like to see in a Wizards of Waverly Place reboot? Please let me know in the comments down below. Anyways, that's it for my video. Please like, subscribe, and comment down below, and follow me on all of my socials. Anyways, thank you so much for watching.